Hi, Integrated Math 1. Welcome to lesson 5.1.1b. We're on day 2, working toward constructing a square. Again, don't know that we'll quite get to the square, but we are going to learn some useful tools in getting there. So we're kicking it off today on page M5-13. So if you're wondering where we are, that's where we are. So previously, we practiced bisecting a line segment and locating the midpoint of the line segment by construction, right? Pointy guy on the endpoint, swipe it, don't let it slide, put the pointy guy on the other endpoint, swipe it, and then we connected where our arcs hit. And we're like, hey, there's the midpoint. Did you know that, in fact, you were also constructing a line segment that was perpendicular to the original? Did you know that? So when you did this, you actually made a perpendicular line through that midpoint. It's perpendicular to the original. So you could actually use this kind of technique to construct a line segment perpendicular to another line segment. I'm going to show you what I mean. So I have a few steps here, and you know how this goes. I'll show you the explanation in the book, and then I'll actually bust out paper and pencil, and I'll use my camera here to actually show it to you. So these are the steps to construct a perpendicular line through point B. So here I have a line. Please note that this line does not have endpoints. This line has arrows. So we're going to construct a line perpendicular to line L through point B. All right. And the deal is that it doesn't have endpoints. So the first thing I need to do is create some endpoints such that B is in the center. All right. So I'm going to use the pointy side. Again, I hope you got your compass and your straight edge. You know we're using those today. So the pointy guy is going to go on B, and you're just going to do a big arc. Woo, swipe it. Just a big arc. Shoo, there it is. Such that B is going to be the center of the arc that we construct. And you can label your points, like we'll label these guys C and D. So we just did a big swipe, woo, such that C and D are on line L, and B is, of course, the center of that. So then we're going to open up the compass a little larger than the radius, right? We want it to be a little larger than the radius, like last time, a little more than halfway, right? And then what you'll do is you'll put, just like you did last time, we'll put our pointy guy on the endpoint, make a mark above and a mark below. Put our pointy guy on the other endpoint, make a mark above, make a mark below. So we're going to open the compass larger than the radius, and we'll use C and D as our centers now and construct arcs above and below the line. And we can label those intersections as well. In this case, they labeled them E and F. And then you just connect them, and it should go, boom, right through B. You'll use your straight edge. There it is. You will use your straight edge to connect points, and line EF should be perpendicular to line CD. Now, this is a little confusing here, so I've got some paper here, and I'm going to bust out my camera. There it is. I'm going to bust out my camera and show you how I did this, even though the lights keep going out. All right. So first of all, I've got some line segment, I have a line, make a line. Ooh. And I don't have endpoints this time. This line goes forever and ever. And I'm just going to make some point there, and I'm going to call that point B. I want to draw a line perpendicular to my line L. We'll call this line L. I want to draw a point perpendicular to line L that actually goes through point B. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use B as the center. And I'm just going to draw a little half circle so that it touches both sides, right? I'm just going to be like, woo, boop, such that B is the center. And I'll go ahead and label these points. So I'm going to call this endpoint C. I'm going to call this endpoint D. And now we're going to do what we did last time. I want to make sure, I'm going to put this on point D to start with. I need to be more than halfway, right? I need to be past B. And I'm just going to make a little mark kind of up above and below. If you want to make a full-blown arc like we did last time, you can. Don't let it slide. Don't let it slide. Go over to the other side. Put your pointy guy on C. And again, I need it to hit below. I need it to hit above. And we can label these whatever we like. Let's go ahead and call that E and F. And once I connect these, it should go straight through B. Oh, which it does. And it should be perpendicular. Yeah, so we just made a line perpendicular to line L that goes through point B. Yay! So very similar to last time. The only difference is we didn't have endpoints this time. So I started by having my pointy guy on B and creating those endpoints. And then I treated it like what we did last time, where I was like, okay, pointy guy on the side, above and below. Don't let it slide. Pointy guy on the other side, mark above, mark below. Yay! And there we go. This is line EF should be perpendicular to line CD. Yay. And notice I'm not erasing my marks. I've shown my work. This is my work. Not erasing my marks. I want them all there. So this is a perpendicular bisector. A perpendicular bisector is a line segment ray that bisects the line segment and is also perpendicular to the line segment. So not only does it cut it right down the middle, it makes a 90-degree angle with it as well. It's kind of magical. It does like all the things. Can you take just a moment to explain why EF is a bisector of CD? Can you hit pause and just jot down your thoughts there and hit play to keep going? So my thought was, look, I created like a half circle here, right? A semicircle with B as the center of that circle. So that means if it goes through B, it's bisecting CD, right? The radius from B to C is the same as the radius from B to D. Since my two sides are congruent, circle BD and BC are radii of the same circle, they are going to be congruent. So this is a EF is a bisector. So I would like you to try one of these. I showed you how to do it. I want you to try one. Go ahead over to page M5-14. I would like you to construct a line perpendicular to the given line through point P. You can do it right there in your book with your compass and your straight edge. Hit pause to work it out. Hit play when you're ready to check your work. All right. Are you ready? I'm ready. I got my paper here. Bring out my camera. Whoop, there it is. Sweet. All right, so I don't have endpoints. I've got arrows. So the first thing I'm going to do, and it doesn't need to be big, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my semicircle so that I can get two endpoints going on here. Sorry, my mouse is like in the way. I'm trying to turn the paper, but my things are in the way. Ah, no. It's all right. I got there. Sorry you didn't get to witness it. I had some problems there. It's okay. I got there. So I drew my little half circle. In fact, I'm going to redo this because it's not very dark here. I'm going to kind of. So I drew my little half circle here. Sweet. So I've got my endpoints. Boom, boom. So I didn't have endpoints, but now I do. And now we can do just like we did last time. I do want to make sure I'm a little more than halfway, right? And I'm going to make a mark up above and a mark below. Don't let it slide. Go to the other side. Make a mark below, above, and below. And then I should be able to connect these with my straight edge. Pew, pew. And it goes boom, right through P. Okay, not the best I've done. Clearly, I'm a little crooked. Hopefully yours is a little better. I did go a little crooked. That happens sometimes. But we did our arc to create endpoints and then a little above and below, and then switch to the other side, a little above, a little mark below. Awesome. So hopefully it looks something like this. Hopefully yours looks a little better than mine. It was a little crooked. That happens sometimes, especially for compass slides. It's an issue. That's nice. All right. How are constructing a segment bisector and constructing a perpendicular line through a point on a line, are they different? What's different about them? Hit pause, just jot down your thoughts. What's different about what we're doing today as opposed to what we did last time? Hit pause, jot down your thoughts, hit play to keep going. So I noticed the difference was the endpoints. We still did the arcs, right, to find where they hit and to make our lines through, but I didn't have any endpoints. So when constructing a segment bisector, we use the endpoints of the segments to make the arcs. to construct a perpendicular line through a point on the line, there's no endpoints. So I must start by placing my compass on the given point and creating 2 points equidistant from the given point. Then I can make arcs from those 2 points I created. So the difference is when I do the perpendicular line through a point on the line, I don't have endpoints. So I had to create my own. And then I could treat it like I did last time. What if the point is not on the line? Oh, what? It doesn't matter. You can also construct a perpendicular line through a point that is not on the line. So again, I have the steps. Again, I will walk you through. You know I'm a good girl. I'll walk you through how to do this. I'm good like that. So I'll walk you through these steps and then I'll show you with my other camera. So you can construct a line perpendicular to line L through point B. And notice B is not on the line anymore. But that's okay. We're still going to use our tricks from last time. We're still going to construct an arc. We'll use B as the center. We'll construct an arc such that it hits my line twice to give me those end points, so to speak, right? So we'll label those C and D. And then we want to open the compass more than halfway, more than the radius. You know how this goes. And we'll make a mark above and below. We'll switch to the other point, make a mark above and below so that we have an X above and an X below. And then, of course, we will connect the dots. We'll use a straight edge to connect our dots. And it should go through B, and it should be perpendicular to line CD. So let me show you. Let me show you. I know you might be a little like, I think I got this, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to show you with my camera. So first of all, just going to set it up. I'm going to make a line. I'm just going to call this, put arrows on it. I'm going to be like, that's line L. And I'm going to pick some point. I'm just going to hover above. I'm going to call that point B. Yay. All right, we got the setup. So here's how this works. I am going to put my point on my pointy guy on B, right? I want this to be wide enough. Doesn't need to be huge, but I need it to be wide enough such that when I swing my arc out, it's going to hit the line twice. Okay, so, woo, oh dear. It's kind of like does take 2 hands to do this a lot of the time. So there we go. So it hits my line twice. And just for purposes of making this easier, I'm going to call these 2 points. These are my new endpoints. Again, I'll just call them C and D just to make it easier. So I have my endpoints. And now I'm going to do just what I did before. I do want to open this up such that it's more than the radius. I'm going to make a little mark above. I'm going to make a little mark below. You can do a full arc if you want, but I just like to make a mark above and below. Don't let it slide. And put your point on C. And then again, make a mark above. Make a mark below. And look at that. Oh, sorry, I can't see my below mark. There it is. So we got a mark, a point here, which we can call E. We'll call this point F. You can call them whatever you like, but that sounds good to me. Use my straight edge. And boom! Look at that. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It goes through B, and it's perpendicular to line L. Yay! I want you to do this. Page M5-15. I want you to do this. I want you to construct a line perpendicular to line L through point B. Go ahead, hit pause, make your constructions. Don't erase your bits because that's your work. Hit pause, work out your perpendicular line, and then hit play when you're ready to check your work. How you doing? I'll show you mine. Here's mine. So again, I'm gonna make one arc such that it hits the line twice, right? I gotta hit that line twice. So point on B, doesn't need to be big, but I need to make sure it hits twice. So I'm gonna hit it. But I gotta switch hands. Oh no, it's okay. We're okay, nobody panic. I'm just gonna keep going. Boom, there we go. Not easy doing this sometimes, is it? So I got a point here. I've got a point here. So now I've created my end points, so to speak. Now I want to expand this so it's bigger than the radius. Doesn't need to be huge, but I'm going to put the pointy guy on one side and make a mark above, make a mark below. And then don't let it slide, don't let it slide. Switch to the other endpoint. Mark above, mark below. And I have 2 new points. And I should be able to connect. Not my best. I went a little off. That's okay. I will fix it, make it better. Ta-da! So this line goes through B, sort of. It's not perfect. And it should be perpendicular to line L down here. Awesome! Yay! Now, I have an extra special bonus trick for you. Are you ready? I would like you take a look at this. There's 2 questions I have for this. First of all, how is the construction of a perpendicular line through a point on a line different from the construction of a perpendicular line through a point not on the line? We've just done 2 of these. One, point B was on the line. The other one, point B was not on the line. What's the difference? Hit pause, jot down your thoughts, hit play when you're ready to check your work. The answer is they're not different. The steps are identical, right? We still did a swipe with B at the center to create 2 endpoints and then made marks above, made marks below with the endpoints. The only difference is the location of the point, but the steps, exactly the same. Now, this is interesting and it may be a little confusing, but we'll walk through this together. I'd like you to choose a point on the perpendicular bisector of line L, and I want you to label it X. And I want you to measure the distance from point X to points A and to point G. You'll notice the labels over here. Let me come on back. They label this point A and G if you're wondering what we're talking about. A, in fact, I'm going to write that on mine. A and G. E and F. I'm going to put those labels on my paper. Hopefully you put them on yours now too. So I want you to pick a point that's on that perpendicular bisector. And you can label it point X. And then I want you to use an actual ruler. I want you to actually use the numbers. And I want you to measure the distance from the perpendicular bisector to point A and to point G. And then do it again. Choose another point and label it Y, and then measure the distance from point Y to A, from point Y to and point Y to point G. What do you notice? Hit pause. Play with it a little bit. Hit play when you're ready to get a little extra help from me. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to come back to this that we just did. And again, I just labeled it the way they labeled it. They said that was A and G. They said that was E and F, just to make things easier for us. So pick a point on this line. I don't care. Pick a point, any point. This point looks good. I'm just going to pick a point anywhere on that bisector. And I'm going to call that point X. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my ruler. And I'm going to measure. You could use inches. I'm going to use centimeters. I think it's a little easier. I'm going to measure the distance from X to G, and then from X to A. So from X to G, it looks like, we're almost exactly, not quite, but almost exactly 2 centimeters from X to G. So this little distance here, I'm gonna do this. I like visuals. This little distance here is about 2 centimeters from X to G. But if I also measure the distance from A to X, so X to A, whichever way you want to think of it. Sorry, my camera is in the way. Is my head in the way now? Maybe a little bit. Oh my goodness. It looks like this distance, not perfect, but is also about 2 centimeters. I'm going to pick another point. Let's see if this holds true. I'm going to pick another point. I'm going to pick this point over here. We're going to call this point Y. And I'm going to measure again. I'm going to measure from A to Y. Actually, I want to use the centimeter side. I like metric. Sometimes it's easier. So from A to Y, that's about what? 1, 2, 3, about 2.4 centimeters, 2.3 centimeters. So from here to here. Oh no. So that's about 2.3 centimeters-ish. And then if I were to measure from Y to G, and of course your measurements might be different depending on where you put this thing. I guess it was more like 2.4. And then if I were to measure again from Y to G, it looks like I'm again ending up, it's not perfect, but I'm again ending up at about 2.4 centimeters. Huh. So point X was the same distance to A as it was to G. And same thing happened with Y. Point Y was the same distance to A as it was to G. Oh my goodness gracious. We have found something here. I notice, if I can get my mouse to work right, there it is. I notice that the distances from a point on the bisector, on the perpendicular bisector, to each of the two intersection points that lie on line L are equal. They're the same distance, aren't they? That's interesting. So let's make a conjecture about the distance from any point on a perpendicular bisector to the endpoints of the original segment. And a conjecture is just a mathematical statement that appears to be true. It's not been formally proven, but it looks like it's true. So my conjecture is that any point on a perpendicular bisector is what we say equidistant to the endpoints of the original segment, right? It's the same distance back to those endpoints. Interesting. All right, one last little construction, and this one's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We're going to duplicate a line segment. Now, there are different ways to use construction tools to duplicate a line segment, but it's not hard. So the deal is, you can duplicate a line segment by constructing an exact copy of the original line segment. And we can totally use our compass to help us do that just by making sure it's wide enough to match. So if we're given segment AB, I can take my compass and actually use it such that the pointy guy's on A, the pencil's on B, and I can be like, hey, that's exactly how long it is. And then I can just make a line and measure it out. So we'll use a straight edge to construct a starter line, just any old line, that's longer than the original AB. And then we can just label some point C on the line, yay. And then we'll set our compass to be the length of AB, and then we'll copy that length. We'll mark the compass at C, mark point D on the new segment. And line segment CD is a duplicate of AB. Again, let me show you what I mean. It's not hard. So if I have some line segment AB, and I'm just gonna make some segment, I'm gonna call it AB. I'm gonna be like A and B. So A, B. I can totally duplicate this line segment. So first of all, I'm going to make a starter, what we call a starter line segment. I'm just going to make a line. I want it to be longer than AB. So I've just made a line. It's longer than AB. Hooray. I'm just going to make a point on it. In this case, I'm just going to call that point C. And here's how we do this. I'm going to use my compass. I'm going to put the point on A, and I'm going to adjust such that my pencil, or to make a little mark, is right at B. And then don't let it slide, don't let it slide. Come down to C and make your mark. Look at that, there it is. Boom. I just duplicated this line segment. This line segment AB, CD is the exact same length. And I used my compass to measure that. Boom, boom, done. So easy peasy lemon squeezy that I think you can do this. I would like you to construct a line segment. Ooh, this one's going to be, I got to make you think on this one. I would like you to construct a line segment that is twice the length of AB. Hit pause, work it out, hit play when you're ready to check your work. All right, I'm going to show you how to do this. So here I have, this is your book, right? This is what you have. So there's segment AB. I want to make a segment that's twice as long as that one. So down here where I got some space, I'm just going to start off by making a starter line, a really long starter line, okay? I'm going to use my straight edge. Please use your straight edge. None of this should be eyeballed. We are using tools here, people. So make a nice long line using my straight edge. I'm going to make some point. I'm going to call it, I don't know, what do I want to call it? I'm going to call it C. C sounds good. Actually, I'm going to call it A prime. I'm going to call it the new A. So instead of A, I'll call it A prime. So I just made a big old long line. I'm going to call this A prime. Now, I'm going to come back up the page and I'm going to use my compass. I'm coming back up the page. I'm going to put the pointy guy on A. I'm going to adjust such that my pencil hits B. Make a little mark just to make sure it's in the right spot. All right, watch this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Don't let it slide. Pointy guy on A prime. I'm going to make a mark such that I have a point and we can call that B prime. But I want it to be twice as long. So don't let this slide. I still have the measurement. I'm going to do a second one. Oh, that's right. I'm doing a second one. Oh, I'll call that C prime. And you just made a line segment that's twice the length of the original. What? I know. Oh. So it just means I had to measure it, and then I just had to do double the mark so I could double the length. Snazzy, right? So cool. Dave and Sandy, now we mentioned this isn't the only way to do this. So Dave and Sandy are duplicating segment AB, and their methods are shown below. So here's Dave's original AB, and Dave did a whole circle around it. Whoa, go Dave. Whereas Sandy just did a little mark to do her B prime. Which method is correct and why? Hit pause, jot down your thoughts, hit play to keep the discussion going. Guys, they're both right. Both methods are correct. Dave just did a big old circle, but that's okay. He made a circle on the original. He did a new circle on the new one. Sandy just didn't do a whole circle. She just made a little mark and a little mark. So the only difference is Dave used the compass to draw a complete circle, whereas Sandy just drew a part of the circle. Not a problem. So I would like you to take a few minutes here. I would like you to duplicate each line segment using a compass and a straight edge. So this is over on number 3 on bottom of page 5, M5-17. You've got 3 of these. You've got UV, you've got WX, you've got YZ. Duplicate them all. Hit pause, work it out, hit play when you're ready to check your work. All right. How'd you do? Are you ready to check? Because I have my stuff here. Now I'm going to point out, you don't have to actually do it up and down. If you did it up and down, same as this one, that's totally fine, but you don't have to. You don't have to. So I'm going to make my starter line. Pachoo, pachoo. I'm going to pick a point and I'm going to say that's U prime. It's the new U. I know. I'm going to use my compass here, my lovely compass. As you can see, I'm going to put the pointy guy on U. I'm going to adjust my compass such that the pencil is on V exactly. Make a little mark just to make sure. Yep, there we go. And then I don't let it slide, and I come over and I make a little mark. Ooh. And I'm going to call that point V prime. Yay. If you did it up and down the same as this one, that's okay. You don't have to. Let's do this again for WX. I'm going to do this again for WX. I'm going to make a starter line that's longer than the original. I'm going to pick a point. I'm going to call it W prime because it's the new W. And then I'm going to use my compass. I'm going to put the point on W, and then I will adjust, such that my pencil is on X. I'm going to make a little mark just to double check. I think I need to make it a tiny bit more. That works. Close enough. I will put my point on W prime, and then I will make a little mark and be like, that's X prime. Yay. Again, it's okay that I didn't do a diagonal. It didn't ask me to, it just said to duplicate it, so I'm duplicating it. Last but not least, let's do YZ. Oh, it's such a little one, YZ. I'm gonna make a point on my starter line. Oh, sorry, I went too far there. I make a point on my starter line. I'll just call it Y prime. I will use my compass. I'll put the point on Y. I definitely need to adjust my pencil to hit Z though. Oh, it's kind of small. Double check. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then I'll come over here, put my point on Y prime, and just make a little mark. Ooh, and there it is, Z prime. Awesome. We just did them all. Good job. Yep. Feeling brave? Use what you know about duplicating segments and constructing perpendicular lines. See if you can construct a square with the same side length as JK. This one's the challenge, all right? This one's the ultimate challenge. Can you construct a square using what you know about perpendicular lines, using what you know about duplicating line segments? Can you construct a square? Hit pause, see what you can do. Hit play when you're ready to check your work. All right, I'm gonna see what I can do here. Challenge accepted. First of all, I need to get JK onto my paper. Just kidding, but I do. I need to get JK onto my paper. So I'm gonna start. Here's J. I'm just making junk up here. It's all good. So if I have line segment JK, just kidding. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a starter line. All right, I'm gonna make a starter line. I'm gonna call this J prime. I'm gonna use my compass to measure. This should be in your book, right? If you have this in your book, you measure this guy in your book. And then I'm gonna come over here, make a little mark. I'm gonna call that K prime. So I've already made a segment that's long enough. Now here's the thing. I need to make a line that's perpendicular. So I'm gonna extend this starter line that I made. I'm gonna make it a little longer. And I'm gonna do a really quick perpendicular bisector. I'm gonna do a really quick perpendicular guy, right? Really quick. I'm gonna create endpoints. Oh dear, don't slide, don't slide. Always the problem when it slides. There we go. So I've just created endpoints. And now I'm going to use these guys, make it a little wider here. I'm going to use these guys to make a mark above and below. Flip it to the other side. I'm going to make a mark above. I'm going to make a mark below, like drawn on my desk now. And I'm going to connect these. And try and connect these. But I'm going to make this line really big, and I'm going to pretend that this is my new starter line. Oh, what? It's my new starter line. So again, I'm going to take my measurement of J to K. Again, I'm going to measure it. This is crazy, right? I'm going to measure that, and I'm going to come over here and be like, this side is a new starter line. And I'm going to put my point here, and I'm going to make a little mark here. There's the new side. There's the new side. There's the new side. I almost need to zoom out, don't I? Here, zoom out just a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. So I've got 2 sides of my square. Now I need to do this process again. I'm gonna bring this in a bit. I'm gonna make a little arc so I can create 2 endpoints, right? That's what I want to do. I'm gonna make my semicircle. So I have 2 endpoints, only if I can get my pencil to play nice. There we go. I've got my two endpoints, and again, I want to go a little bit bigger so I can make a mark above and below without letting it slide. Switch to the other endpoint, make a mark above and below, and I will connect these. Woo! Ooh, except I want this to be my new starter line. So hang on. This wasn't very good. I want this to be my new starter line. So I'm going to make it really stupid longer than it needs to be. And again, one more time, I'm going to measure J to K. So I'm just measuring it out again. I'm going to come over here, J. I'm going to make a little line here for K, my new K. And this should be the other corner of my square. I could go to the trouble doing a perpendicular bisector again, but I shouldn't need to. I should be able to connect these and be like, bam, I just made a square. I just constructed a square. It's magical. Or annoying. Hard to tell. That was a lot of work. But as always, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found this useful. If you got questions, concerns, come talk to me. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.